Okay, so here we go. Once again, we're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and we're going to start at verse 58, and it reads, If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law, okay, which is the scriptures here, man, right? Originally the Torah, right? That are written in this book. What book? The Holy Scriptures, man, right? That thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, which is the Lord thy power. Okay, well, I'm not going to really mention his real authentic name according to the ancient Hebraic Gabaret tongue, because, I keep the third commandment. I don't use his name in vain, right? But, for the sincere brothers and sisters that's of the faith, they know the name, right? In continuation, once again, mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, which is the Most High thy power. Verse 59. Then the Most High power will make thy plagues wonderful. Okay, so everything that's wonderful isn't always a good thing, man. This is how our people been deceived into believing certain words mean certain things, man, right? But just because something is wonderful doesn't mean that it's a good thing. It's something to be wondrous about, something to think of, something to ponder, right? The reason why this is going on, right? And the plagues of thy seed, which is your children, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. All right, so this is what the Most High is saying, man. If you're not going to keep my laws, statutes, and commandments, then he's going to make your trials and tribulations wondrous, man, right? They're going to be coming about you, and you're not even going to know the reason why, right? You're going to be feeling certain ways, not only physically, but spiritually. And not only those two, also mentally, right? This is the reason why, there's the saying going around talking about how our people are suffering from so-called mental illness, right? But it's really not mental illness, it's spiritual illness. The reason why the other nations say that it's a mental illness because they don't deal with the Most High, right? The Most High don't deal with them. Okay, they don't consider things that's spiritual. Okay, so of course they're going to answer in a carnal mindset, but this is a spiritual crisis that our people are going through, man. And the reason why they're going through it is because they're not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of their one and only true power, man, which is the God of Bible, the God of Israel. Okay, verse 59 again from the top. Then the Most High power will make thy, which is your plagues, wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, which is your children, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. So he was reiterating that he's going to make the plagues of you and your children of long continuance, even the sickness, man, that a lot of our people are unfortunately going through nowadays from the so-called charagma, right? Verse 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee, which is you, all the diseases of what? Of Egypt, okay, which is bondage, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto you. All right. So this is the reason why a lot of our people are physically, not only physically, but mentally sick, right? Because they're not spiritually well. They're not following their one and only true power, man, right? So all of the diseases of this so-called Egypt, which is spiritual Egypt, is clinging to the man, right? Verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Most High power bring upon thee until thou what be destroyed, meaning killed, right? Deleted, wiped off the face of his earth, right? So the Most High ain't playing, man. Verse 62. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven. For multitude, okay, so whenever you hear about the stars of heaven in the scriptures, know that that's speaking about the children of Israel. That's referencing us, man, right? That's a metaphor and symbolic for the children of Israel. because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God, which is the Most High, your power. Verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Most High rejoice over you to do you good, okay, and this is what the Most High have always done to his people. He always done us good. He always made sure that we was at the top of the totem pole, right? In continuation, and to multiply you, so the Most High power will rejoice over you to destroy you, okay? And to bring you to what? To naught, which is nothing. Basically, the bottom of the totem pole now, right? The bottom of society, the oppressed of the society, the one always looked down upon, ridiculed on a daily basis, right? Last hired, first fired, right? And ye shall be plucked off the land whither thou goest to possess it, right? So what happened when we was in our native lands, when we was in Jerusalem, right? The Romans and the other nations came against us to conquer us and kick us out of that land, right? And then when we fled into East and West Africa, and some cases even South Africa, right? Once again, they came over there, they conquered us in war and took us from that land, right? We was plucked out of all of those lands, although some of our people are still over there, mainly the Northern Kingdom. The Southern Kingdom was on the west coast of Africa, right? And in the middle parts of Africa. And then, of course, you know, the enemy, the powers that shouldn't be, came up over there. They conquered us through war and plucked us off the land, which is the so-called Atlantic Middle Passage, right? They brought us over here to the Americas, okay, and the Caribbeans, right? So this is what the Most High says, man, right? Verse 63 again from the top. And it shall come to pass that as the Most High rejoice, Salakia, over you to do you good and multiply you, so the Most High power will rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to nothing, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. All right, so that happened, okay? That actually took place in history, man, right? Verse 64. And the Most High power shall scatter thee among all people. Okay, so what's going on now in this world today? Our people are all over the world, you know, so-called the four corners of the world. All right, we're in the Americas, we're in the Caribbean, we're still in Africa too, right? We're in Europe, okay, we're in Asia, all right, we're in Australia, we're in all parts of the world, man, right? Salakia. Verse 64 again from the top. And the Most High power shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there shalt serve other gods. Okay, so this is what our people are doing now, right? We're serving Allah in Islam. We're serving Krishna, Madhava, and Shiva in Hinduism, okay? We're worshiping the multiple gods in Jainism, which is a branch of Hinduism, right? And the reason why a lot of our people are serving Hindu gods is because they've been told that Hinduism is the world's oldest religion, right? And that's not true. The God of Israel, these scriptures, is the world's oldest religion, man. All right? So this is why our people are into Hinduism. This is the reason why our people are into ancient Kemet, right? Egyptology, all right? They're Roman Catholics. They're in all denominations of so-called church, all right? And this is a prophecy that passed. This is the Most High, man. This is what he said. This is what will happen if we don't serve him as we supposed to, right? Verse 64 again from the top. And the Most High power shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers, which is your forefathers, your ancestors, have known, even of wood and stone. Okay, so right here the Most High is saying, you know, our righteous forefathers, which is our ancestors, when they was in the land, they wasn't serving other false deities, other false gods, right? They're serving gods of wood and stone, in which our people are unfortunately doing today, right? So this is the reason why you see our people in Islam, okay? You see them in so-called Christianity, right? And they don't even follow Christ. To be a Christian, you have to follow Christ, man. If you're going to say you're a part of so-called Christianity, right? So you're in Islam worshiping that rock, that Kaaba stone in Mecca. All right, you're circling around that rock, man. This is the stone that the Most High is speaking about in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, man. And then you have the wood, which is the so-called crucifix, right? They try to say that's symbolic for Hamashiach, but that was a torture device from the ancient Romans, man, right? Paying homage and commemoration to Tammuz, okay? So that's what that T is for, man, right? It's a lowercase t, but it's still a T. But they're trying to say that that's symbolic for Hamashiach and so-called Christianity, right? So this is a prophecy that's being fulfilled by the Most High, man. If he say that we will break his laws, statutes, and commandments and not serve him, but serve other false deities and gods, this is a prophecy that was fulfilled, man. It passed, right? So this is what's going on today, okay? Because we're not keeping the ordinances of the Most High that we should, man, right? We're not keeping the so-called New Year, the real New Year that's coming up, right? We're not keeping the Feast of Purim, unfortunately, right? And when I say we, I don't mean me, I mean our people. Me personally, in my household, we're going to be keeping the Feast of Purim. But unfortunately, our people, they don't even know anything about the Feast of Purim, right? But we're going to get into that too. Verse 64 from the middle again. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers, which is your ancestors, have known, even wood and stone. Verse 65. And among these nations, which is the other nations, which is not a part of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Shalt thou find no ease, meaning no rest, right? No peace of mind, man. No peace of spirit, right? Neither shall thy sole of thy feet have rest, but the Most High Power shall give a trembling heart, which is a trembling mind, right? And failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Okay, so this is what's going on with our people now. This is the reason why they're saying our people have so-called mental illness, right? Our people don't have a mental illness, okay? They have a spiritual illness because they're not keeping the ways of the Most High. They're not worshiping and serving the one and only true power, man, right? They'd rather serve Allah in Islam, okay? They would rather serve Buddha in Buddhism, right? Krishna, Shiva, and Madhava in Hinduism, Virgin Mary in Roman Catholicism, right? The devil himself, the image of the beast in religious churchianity, man. This is the reason why our people have a trembling heart and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind, man, right? Verse 66. And thy life, which is your life, shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, all right? And shalt have none assurance of thy life. Okay, so don't that sound like our people, man? Right? We're fearing day and night. Okay, every time we leave our household, man, right? Every time we leave our household, we got to watch our back, man. Not only for our own people that's looking to stick us and jig us and rob us, man, but also for the so-called authorities, right? The patrolmen, all right? One time, 5-0, right? We got to look in our rearview mirror every single day. And necessarily, we don't even have to be breaking the law, but it's just that natural fear that we have, man. Unfortunately, and it's because this is what the Most High is dealing to us, man, because we're not truly serving him. And it's like I said, me personally, I don't feel it's because I'm serving the Most High, right? I know that I'm living a righteous life to the best of my ability, right? So I know the Most High is not going to bring about me all sorts of calamities and trials and tribulations that most of our people who are willful sinners are going through, man. But that's not to say that we're not going through it. Of course, we're still living under the curses and we're still in spiritual Egypt. You know what I'm saying? But we strive to be righteous so the Most High don't put these spirits on us, man. These spirits of fear and of a trembling heart and mind, man. But unfortunately, this is what our people are going through. So this is the reason why we have to watch our back when we're going out, right? We always have to observe the surrounding areas where we're at, man. We always have to, feel a little shooken or scared or whatever when we're passing a patrolman sitting on the side of the road, man, right? Or even if we're going to a job interview or whatever, we're not too sure if we're going to get that job or not, that we need, to continue to keep a roof over our heads and put food on our table and clothes on our back and take care of ourselves, man, right? So we're even nervous at the job interview. Okay, so this is a trembling heart, man, and a fearful mind that the Most High is dealing us because we're not serving him, man, right? So this is what this is all about, man. But unfortunately, our people don't read the scriptures to understand these things, man. But for one, you have to know that you are the people of the book. And then once you understand that, then you will understand these prophecies that's being fulfilled on a daily basis, man, right? So as it says here again, verse 66 from the top, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy. Okay, so this is what's definitely going on with our people, man. So you can't say that we're not the people of the book, man, right? These plagues and these curses and blessings fits us perfectly, man, right? Let's jump down to 68. And the Most High Power shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Okay, so right here, this is letting you know this isn't talking about the land of so-called Egypt, which is Mizraim. This is a spiritual thing. This, like I said, once you get into the etymology of the definition of the word Egypt, you'll find that it means bondage, captivity, right? Verse 68 again from the top. And the Most High Power shall bring thee into Egypt again with what? With ships. All right. So back in those ancient times, right, before the so-called Suez Canal was created, right, the ancient Israelites, they was able to walk down into Egypt, right, through the land of Canaan, through the Gaza Strip. But now, ever since they created that so-called Suez Canal, you have to cross a bridge, or you have to, cross over the river by boat, right? Then it says again, by the way of whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there shall be sold onto your enemies. Okay, so the Most High is saying, and there you should be sold onto your enemies. So when you cross that so-called middle passage, the Atlantic Ocean coming over here to the Americas, or you went down through the Red Sea, right? The Eritrean Sea, okay, when you went down into India, when you went over there to Australia, okay, the Asian islands, all right, Cambodia, okay, Thailand, places like that, right? And I'm not even going to say when you went down, I mean when you was taken down, when you was taken down from your homeland, all right? This is what's going on. You're being brought back into Egypt, which is bondage, again, from the other nations, man, right? Thou shalt see it no more again, meaning that we're not going to see our homeland again, meaning also that we're not going to have sovereignty in our own lands anymore. We're not going to own our lands no more. We're going to be living on other people's property, man. Right? So this is what's going on today. So as it says here, and thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, right? So when you go into the definition of what bondmen and bondwomen is, that's basically a slave woman, slave man, a captive, all right? And no man shall buy you, meaning no man is going to save you. When you get into the definition of the word buy, which is an ancient Quaker term, it goes back to the definition of save, right? Give you salvation, give you peace, okay? So that's what's going on now. Over here in this society, no one's speaking up on the behalf of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negroid descent, unless they're of our own people. And then on top of that, you can't even trust them because a lot of them done bit the bullet. A lot of them done sold out, right? They done joined themselves to the other nations, right? So they fully not really speaking up on your behalf. They doing it for the money, right? That's what they're coveting after. Okay. Let's go back to the book of Leviticus, this time in chapter 26. So this is what's going on with our people now, man. The only thing that we have to do is just pick up these scriptures and read it, and then we will fully understand the reason why a lot of our people are going through these atrocities that's happening to us today, man, right? And it's all because we're not following the ways of our one and only true power, which is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, right? So here we go. Once again, we're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And it read, Ye shall make you no idols, nor graven image. Okay, so this is what our people unfortunately are doing today. They're making idols and graven images, right? They have those so-called native African masks hanging up in their houses, right? They have the Egyptian unks, the Nefertiti, right? They have the so-called Caesarea Borgia piece, right? The so-called Jesus piece they hanging on their neck, right? The Egyptian ankh, right? They have the Hinduism Om, right, hanging on themselves. Okay, they even have tattoos, all right? They got the seal of Solomon. Notice I said the seal of Solomon. I didn't say the seal of David, right? Because during Solomon's old age, he started going off when he was dating the women from the other nations, right? So he was paying homage to their gods, right? And then the next thing you know, all of those other nations, the women, they started putting symbolisms of their God on the seal of David, right? Which was the seal of Solomon. So now you have all of these pagan symbolisms inside of the seal of David, man, which is also the seal of Solomon. Okay, so, but the seal of David is totally different. The seal of David goes back to him, it actually being the name of David, right? When you go into the studies of it, right? When you do your due diligence concerning that. Okay, so this is what's going on, man. A lot of our people are making graven images, man, and they're going off, right? But this is what the Most High commanded us again, man, right? Ye shall make you no graven idols or images, neither rear you up a standing image. Okay, so this is what's going on. We rearing up standing images. What's those standing images? The so-called Tammuz log, right? The Christmas tree, all right, or the Xmas tree, I should call it, because it have nothing to do with Christ whatsoever. Okay, what's that other standing image? That's the so-called crucifix, your wooden cross. All right, a lot of our people are doing these things, man. Okay. Verse 1 again, a continuation. Neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall ye set up any image of stone in your land. Okay, which is that Kaaba stone, okay, that Islamic stone, right? To bow down unto it, for I am the Lord your God, which is the Most High, your power. Okay, so these are direct commandments that the Most High have given his chosen people, man. Right, verse 2. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths, okay, which is the seventh day Sabbath, ultimately, right? And reference my sanctuary. I am the Most High, your power, all right? Verse 3. If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, okay? So this is what the Most High is commanding us to do, man. We supposed to be walking in his ways, his ordinances, and his statutes, okay? Just like I said before, what's one of those ordinances that we should be keeping as a nation of people every single year? That's the Feast of Purim, which is coming up around the full moon of this month, man, right? Let's jump down to verse 6, and it read, And I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid, and I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. Okay, so when you read this in the scripture, when it's talking about evil beasts, it's not literally talking about beasts. You know, it's talking about the other nations, man, right? They're considered the beasts of the world, right? The lawless people, right? The idolaters, the adulterers, right? The fornicators, okay? And then it says here, neither shall the sword go through your land. Okay, so the sword is basically symbolic for destruction, all right, or war, meaning that no other nations is going to come against us to make war, or there's going to be no destruction, there's going to be no famine. We always going to have our vegetation growing, our vineyards growing. Okay, we always going to have livestock, we're going to have natural resources in the land. All right, verse 7. And ye shall chase your enemies. Okay, who's your enemies? That's the other nations of people, right? And they shall fall before you by the sword. Okay, by destruction, by your sword. Okay, verse 8. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. Okay, so this is the power that the Most High is going to give us, man. By what? By simply serving him, man. By simply keeping the Feast of Purim, along with the other 7 high holy days, man, right? Just by simply keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, man, this is what the Most High is going to give our people, man, right? Verse 9. For I will have respect unto you. Unfortunately, the Most High don't have that respect right now because we're in the midst of sin, right? A majority of our people, the so-called 2/3 willful sinners, right? And to make you fruitful, meaning that we're going to produce fruits, man, right? We're going to be the nation that all of the other nations come to, to buy from, to have their merchant ships come to, right? And multiply you and establish my covenant with you. Verse 10. And ye shall eat old store and bring forth old because of the new. All right, so we're going to have so much natural resources, man. We're not even going to be through with the old resources that we conjured up, right? Even with money. Some people will say, hey, I'm living off old money, man. I got so much money. I'm living off old money. I haven't even spent the new money that I've accumulated yet, right? Verse 11. And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you, which is the Holy Spirit. The Most High soul is the Holy Spirit that he sent forth, man. This is the comforter that Hamashiach was speaking about in the book of John, right? Verse 12. And I will walk among you, and will be your power, and ye shall be my what? My people. All right. Verse 13. I am the Most High your God, which is the Most High your power, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, okay, which is the first Egypt, which was in the land of Mizraim, right? That ye should not be their bondmen, okay, not be their slave men, their captives, okay, the people who's oppressing you, all right? And I have broken the bands of your yoke, okay, which is their stronghold on us, their grip on us, man, right? Not only physically, but mentally and mainly spiritually, right? I got us serving all of these false idol gods out here to keep us in bondage, right? And made you go upright, which is the upright way. That's the righteous way. That's serving the Most High, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments and ordinances, man, right? So this is the promises that the Most High gives us, man. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7. And bear with me 1 minute here, brothers and sisters. Ecclesiastes, you can just breeze right by this. This is a very short book here, right? Okay, so once again, we're in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and I'm going to read verse 29, and which relates to the verse that I've just read in the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 13, right? And it read, Lo, which is yo, right? In today's term, right? Lo, this only have I found, that the Most High Power have made man upright. Okay, so that's what's being said in the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 13, right? The Most High have made his people, which is the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians of Negroid descent. He have made us to be upright, right? But as it says here, lo, this only have I found, that the Most High Power have made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions, man, right? So this is unfortunately what our people do. What's those many inventions, right? Inventions of wickedness, okay? Worshiping other gods, right? Living a life full of sin, breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, following after the other nations, man, keeping their customs, right? So this is the many inventions that the Most High is speaking about, man, right? So now, just as the video is solely about, we're going to get into the book of Hadasha or Hadashaya, but according to the modern day Latin terms, is Esther. Okay, and we're going to start in the book, chapter 1. All right, so I'm not going to read the whole book of Esther, but we're going to just breeze over it, and I'm just going to give you, reasons why we keep the feast of Hadasha or Hadashaya, right? And the reason why we should keep it, and when to keep it according to the book of Enoch, right? So let's get into it right quick. We're going to go to Esther once again, starting at chapter 1. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Okay, so here we go. In the book of Hadasha or Hadashaya, chapter 1, starting at verse 1. And it reads, Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even to Ethiopia. Okay. So I'm pretty sure most people already know the geographical locations of those areas today, right? And then it says over 107 and 20 provinces, right? Verse 2. That in those days when King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, verse 3. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him, verse 4. When he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. Okay, so this is what King Ahasuerus, was doing for his kingdom. He made a great feast, to show how glorious he was when he was in reignship. All right. Let's jump down to verse 9. And it read, Now this right here is concerning, his wife that was on his arm during the time in his rulership, right? And her name was Vashti, according to the scripture here. And as it read, it says, also Vashti, the queen. Okay, so now, this is already going off, because in the nation of Israel, there's no such thing as queen, right? When you look up the definition of queen, it actually goes into whoredom, right? Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus, right? So his wife was in there doing her own thing, right? If you're husband and wife, if you give a good feast or a great feast, you're supposed to be doing that together. But unfortunately for King Ahasuerus, his wife Vashti was doing her own thing, right? Verse 10. On the seventh day, when the heart was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bitha, Habana, and Bigtha, and Abatha, and Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of King Ahasuerus, the king. Verse 11. To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look upon, right? So, of course, the king up in there, he was drunk and merry, probably wandering around, jiving, mingling with the people that he had at the great feast. So, he wanted to show his woman thing off to the people that was there, like, yo, I got a fine wife, let me bring her in so y'all can behold her, right? Verse 11. To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. Verse 12. But the queen Vashti refused, all right? She refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains, okay? Who's the chamberlains? Those are the guys that's mentioned in verse 10, right? So right here, the queen, although she's already given her own feast, she not even feasting with her husband as she's supposed to as a wife, but she also refused to come at his commandment, because, he, just like I said, he was feeling good. He was drunk off that juice, and he wanted to show his wife off to the people that was there, but she refused, right? Therefore was the king very wroth, all right, meaning that he was angry, he was pissed off, he was disappointed, let down, right? And his anger burned in him, right? Verse 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, in parentheses, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment, all right? Verse 14. And next unto him was Karshena, Shethar, and Admatha, and Tarshish, and Meres, and Marcina, and Mucuin, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. All right, so they beholding the king, right, which is King Ahasuerus. He was pissed off that his wife Vashti, she refused to come at his commandment, right? So they beholding him, right? So this is what they said to him, verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law? Because she hath not performed the commandment of the king, which is her husband, by the way, King Ahasuerus, by the chamberlains. Verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen has not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, right? So, unfortunately, this is what's going on today, man, with a lot of these women now. A lot of them, unfortunately, they becoming heady, they becoming prideful, they becoming so-called feminists, and they're not respecting their man. They're not listening to their man. Whenever they man want them to do something for them, they get all heady and prideful and stubborn and say, no, I don't have to do that. If you're not going to do this, that, and the third for me, then why should I do that for you? Right? So basically, this is what the queen Vashti is doing with King Ahasuerus, right? She's just all around disrespecting him. She's not listening to his commands. She's being effeminate. She's off doing her own thing with her friends, right? So, being that King Ahasuerus, he was the king of Persia and Media and 127 provinces, they're beholding what Queen Vashti is doing to King Ahasuerus, right? And they're like, wow, wait a minute. This is the king of all of the provinces, but he have a wife that don't even respect him, right? He's married and drunk off wine, and the only thing that he wanted Queen Vashti to do was just, come and stand amongst me, so the people can behold how beautiful you are. And she just caught an attitude and it was like, no, I ain't coming. I don't feel like coming. I'm over here doing my own thing with my girls over here. So, if you want the people of your party to behold me, then why don't you tell them to come to where I'm at so they can behold me there, right? So this is what's going on here. And unfortunately, a lot of these women nowadays are doing the same thing. They're not respecting their husbands. They're not listening to their husbands. They're not answering. They're not being submissive, so to speak. And when I say submissive, I don't mean like a doormat or, like a slave or something like that. But, you have to cater to your husband. If your husband is in need of something, then you should be able to provide that for him. Being that you're his wife, you're the woman that he chose to marry, right? So these are the normal wifely duties that a wife should do, man. And then on top of that, the husband have his duties to cater to you too, right? But according to the scripture in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11, the husband is over the wife, right? So, mainly the wife have to cater to the husband and fulfill his needs. And then in return, the husband will fulfill your needs, right? But if you have a disrespectful, stubborn wife that don't want to do anything for you, then how do you expect your husband to fulfill your needs? Okay. This is a double effort here. It takes two to tangle. You're in a marriage, man. You're in a bondship, right? You're supposed to be fulfilling each other's needs, man. Not how Queen Vashti did King Ahasuerus, man, right? So this is what's going on today, unfortunately, in a lot of marriages, and of course, Queen Vashti, she had that Jezebel spirit in her, right? So as it says here again, verse 16, and Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all princesses and to all people that are in the provinces of King Ahasuerus. Verse 17, for this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, right? So that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported to the king. Ahasuerus commanded Vashti to be brought in before him, but she came not, right? So, these guys here, they looking ahead, right? They're like, yo, if they see Queen Vashti disrespecting King Ahasuerus like this, then this is the king here, right? So if his wife is disrespecting him, then we shouldn't even be thinking about respecting our husbands, man, because this is the king here that's been disrespected, right? So we don't have to cater to our husbands anymore. They should be catering to us, man, right? So this is the mentality that most women unfortunately have today, especially within our people, man, right? And it's not a natural thing, but it's being encouraged, right? It's being enticed to the women of our people from the other nations, right? Because naturally our women wouldn't like this, man, especially back in the days, right? The women catered to their husbands, man, right? They was good wives, right? Verse 18, likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king princesses which have heard of the deed of the queen, right? Thus shall there arise too much what contempt and wrath, man. Right? So they was looking ahead like, yo, this right here is going to cause problems in the future, man. Right? So we got to handle this, right? So in continuation, let's go to the second chapter in the book of Esther.